All right, we got the limitless Electra Soul 444 with us right now, back-to-back episodes, but she won't be with us for the whole episode because she got some things to attend to after this, but we need your take on two very important topics right now. First of all, did not want to do this show without you because we're going to talk about the whole Annabelle situation. So, for those that don't know, paranormal investigator and Annabelle doll handler Dan Rivera has passed away at the age of 54 unexpectedly in his hotel room while on tour with Annabelle. Electra, I sent you the article. What do you think about this?
Honestly, I feel like it's exactly what it sounds like. Like this definitely had something to do with the doll. I feel like that's a given. And I did watch the TikTok that you did send me, and it was about, the fact that what was it that Ed and Lorraine, they were very adamant about not touching Annabelle. Like basically they didn't want anyone to have any kind of possession over her in terms of sharing her, showing her off, things like that, touching her, because the kind of negativity that's within it is very, it's not that it's contagious, but people can be very fearful. And I feel like when people feel fearful in general, especially in the presence of some sort of demonic spirit or entity and things like that, it's a lot easier for that entity to mess with you. So what I believe happened here is that this spirit that's within Annabelle definitely was messing around with, I feel like, the spiritual energies of that person. I feel like other people as well who are involved on, the whole tour thing. And I feel like it kind of took advantage of the situation. And it wouldn't surprise me if had passed away under very, I feel like, paranormal pretenses, kind of very strange, but I'm intending, of course, he passed peacefully, but it's very strange how there's no information on his death, how there's nothing to be said about it, and that the tour is still going on, you know? So the whole thing is very bizarre, but I'm intending nothing but the best, obviously. It's just insane. It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy to think about, you know?
Yeah. So far, they said that the death is not suspicious and that it was by natural causes, but it's like 54 natural causes sounds crazy. That's like something you die of in your 80s, right? Natural
Yeah,
causes is like an 80s or 90s type death.
you pass away in your sleep or something, you know?
Yeah, natural causes. I don't know. Well, what I'm not going to say, this is what I'm not saying here. I'm not saying that Annabelle jumped out of the case and choked him out or did anything crazy like that. But what I do believe wholeheartedly, though, because he was a handler of the doll. So he took her in and out of the case many times with gloves on, and they had priests and everything. There's all these different videos that you can see of him handling Annabelle, right? So he's around her all the time, bringing her on tour. And I feel like eventually, if you're around negative energy, especially demonic energy, it will get to you in some way and it will wear you down in some way. So I don't know exactly what happened, obviously, but it doesn't seem right to me. It
I
doesn't
honestly,
seem like something natural to me, right?
yeah, I agree with you with what you're saying that if you are around some sort of negativity for too long, it will, it does affect you, honestly. Like I would know from my own experiences and the things that I've seen and been through. I feel like if those kinds of things are on your mind too much, which I'm sure the people on tour with this you have this on their mind a lot because they are constantly with the doll and everything else like that, that it can definitely be very effective to themselves, to the way that they think and the way that they feel. And I don't want to, obviously I want to give all respects because I don't want to kind of like conspiracy theory his death, but it just feels to me that it's almost as though it's a given. You know what I'm saying? Like the fact that I just don't believe in coincidences. I don't believe in what is it called? I mean, it is coincidences, but basically, I feel like the timing lines up is my point. I feel like the
Yes.
timing lines up, and it's a bit strange. It does what's it called? Like raise a lot of question marks about these kinds of things because it is very bizarre, but it is very real. This is not like the strangest thing that I've ever seen for sure. I feel like honestly, it's kind of like on topic with the whole thing, you know?
Right, right.
Yeah.
And it's only spookier when you remember that not that many episodes ago, we were talking about all the other creepy things that happened while they were on tour with her. And when when she went to New Orleans, the plantation burned down, the inmates escape, and I think a couple other things happened while she was on tour. And now I think this was the last stop of the tour. If I'm not mistaken, they were in Gettysburg, which is a spiritual place in and of itself. Gettysburg is notoriously haunted. So
Hmm.
being there with all that energy, it sounds crazy. And I remember reading some other paranormal books when I was a kid, and they would talk about how sometimes paranormal investigators would go home after a big
Yeah.
investigation and something and die. They'd
Oh
have
my God.
heart attacks, and it's not something that's like common, but I
You're right.
definitely have read about it in other paranormal investigators books that they would do an investigation with somebody and somebody would go home and just die.
You know
So
that Ed Warren, he got a heart attack while in the middle of a case.
I'm not surprised.
It was one of their scariest cases that they had dealt with, and he had like a heart attack, or I think he went into cardiac arrest or something, and he had to be away like in a hospital for a bit. I feel like it's almost as though it lines up, like you stated, you
Not
know?
surprised. Our bodies are electricity and energy, and so are spirits and ghosts and demons and all that stuff. So it's going to interact with you, you know?
Yeah,
So rest in peace to Dan, but it is suspicious to me. It's a little
it
creepy.
is. It is.
It's creepy to me. We
Yes.
are in Mercury Retrograde right now, and there's no better person to tell us all about it than you. What is going on? How long is this? Whose ex is coming back? What's going on?
Okay, so we are in Mercury retrograde once again. It's in Leo this time, and it started on July 17th. Today is the 20th, I think, and then it's gonna end on August 10th. So it's not that long, it's less than a month, which usually these retrogrades do last not that long in general. I just feel like the effects of it and how people perceive it feels really long because I feel like a lot of people anticipate kind of the energy behind it. So it have always today the 21st, actually, yes, the 21st.
21st, yeah.
Yeah.
22nd when
So,
this comes out.
yes. Okay. I got you. Well, basically, with the energies of the retrograde and everything like that, it's kind of something again where people anticipate. So they feel like, oh, what's going to happen? What energies are going to be mixed up? This, that. Like, don't expect those kinds of things, especially because it is in Leo. So, Leo Mercury in general, they are very blunt. They're very outspoken. They say what's on their mind. They don't play about that. And I feel like of course, when it's in retrograde, it means it's orbiting backwards. So that represents that communication might be jumbled, might be jumbled in a way where, for example, if you say something very bluntly or you say something that you're just thinking about off the top of your head, it could very much be misinterpreted this time around because when any planet is in retrograde, it means again that it's orbiting backwards, which gives it not the opposite effects, but it kind of hinders the clearness of what that planet is supposed to do for a person, right? So let's say that in a natal chart, like a birth chart, if someone has a Leo Mercury, again, they would be outspoken, they would be pretty blunt, they're probably funny, things like that, because Leos are like the center of attention. But when it's because people can also have Mercury retrograde in their birth chart. So that means like their whole life that their communication, of course, that's something that can get better with time. With astrology, it's never like a one size fits all or you're doomed, like, oh, this is what it is and you're done. No, there's always development that can be done through these things or through these placements that you may have. So if someone were to ever have a Leo Mercury in retrograde, for them, they might come off as misunderstood often. Like maybe they were meant to be very outspoken, but people tend to shut them down unintentionally, or they might be put down more than they would like to be, kind of like, again, shut down for their ideas and for their creativity and for the jokes that they make. And I feel like with that, that kind of gives an insight as to how the retrograde overall can affect many people, especially those who do have Leo placements, I feel, and Aquarius placements. I also feel like Taurus and Scorpio placements as well. They also have a way of being affected through this because I believe that they are all they're are they mutable signs? I think they're all mutable, but basically, no, I think they're fixed signs. And having a fixed sign, which would be those, is basically someone who's very determined in getting what it is that they want done. They're very centered and focused on certain things. And yes, they are fixed. So yes, I feel like that's something that's really important for everyone to know. I mean, of course, your exes could definitely make a comeback. I feel like people would definitely be a little bit more confident to just say what they want to say, but don't as always anticipate things. Like just go with the flow and trust that what you want will come together and that you will get clarity. And don't ever assume that there will be conflict in your life. You know what I mean? Always assume that the retrogrades are helping you get even stronger as a better communicator, a better thinker, a better anything, whatever, depending on the planet. But with Mercury, of course, that's thinking, planning, ideas, all that great stuff. So if you're here during this time, just trust that you are moving in the direction of upward, on an upward spiral. And basically, yeah, that's how I see it, especially with Leo, like I stated. So here you go,
Okay.
guys.
So the biggest downfall is maybe communication might be mixed up between
Yeah,
people.
I definitely feel like misinterpreted for sure. I
Okay.
feel like that's how it is with all of them. It is always like that because it is Mercury again, which rules speech and talking. But I feel like with Leo, it's like loudly seemingly wrong. Like you can loudly be deemed incorrect even if you're not. And I mean by loudly is like if you say something with conviction and then you're being doubted for that, but you're like, no, you almost like don't second guess yourself. You're almost like, oh no, did I say something wrong? But no, you should have confidence in what you're saying because obviously, what you're saying is the right thing if that's what you feel like saying. Well, of course, if it sits right with you intuitively, then you're good.
Are there any positives to Mercury retrograde?
Honestly, I feel like in general, there is always a positive to every astrological placement or event, anything like that, even if a lot of people fear it. I feel like the ups of it is getting clearer on your communication, like being more thought out about what you say, and probably also being more tolerant of what other people have to say to you too. Because with Mercury retrogrades, I feel like people do take things out of proportion. I feel like especially online or like when you're texting people because they can't see your tone. And I feel like some people may unintentionally misconstrue what you say. And it's not that they want an issue with you, but they might be used to some sort of conflict, or maybe they feel as though they want conflict. And I feel like if you can explain yourself properly, please do. And don't like second guess what you're going to say. A lot of times people are going to, oh my God, like in those TV shows or like those cartoons when it's like just say your reason, but they won't ever say the reason of, let's say like someone gets in trouble and then the kid is like, oh no, they're gonna think I was cheating on this test, blah blah blah. And then they're like, I wasn't, like no, like sit down and think about what you're gonna say and then say it because now you're leaving a whole bunch of open question marks. You know what I'm saying? Like a whole lot of unanswered questions, or now you're making people assume things. So be as clear as you can be. Don't be afraid to be clear and trust that you will be what's it called, understood accordingly, basically.
Nice. Nice. Beautiful. And before you leave, we got to know how the figure skating is going.
Oh, thanks. That's so crazy. I was thinking today, I literally like just came home from the rink. I was just thinking when I was skating, I was like, I definitely want to like record myself a little bit more in the near future. It's just that it's so like crowded right now because there's so many people coming in the summer and things like that. But it's going really good. Thank you for asking. It's a lot of like confidence-based things and getting stronger physically and mentally, and then basically being inspired by other people while also inspiring others, like so you're being inspired and you're inspiring others. And I think like the healthiest way to go into figure skating and to succeed is to literally have confidence in yourself and don't worry about how you're doing or your speed or anything like that of being perfect. Just trust that you are perfect and it will prove itself to you. But it's going great. Thank you so much for asking. I really
Nice.
appreciate that a lot.
Nice. I know you've been doing a little updates on your channel about it. Do you know how
Yeah.
to do the move where you jump up and then spin around on the one leg? You know what I'm talking
Are you
about?
talking about what's it called? Are
It's like
you
you,
talking about sit spin?
what is it?
Is it a sit spin? Like when you go down and you put your leg out?
No, I think I see them like jump up and then just spin around like a dreidel. They spin
Oh,
around
okay. I
Mac like a
almost spin.
Beyblade.
Wait, are you talking about a scratch spin? Like
I,
when they go like this and then they go in and then they like,
yeah, yeah. You know how to do like a crazy spin? You know how to do like a
yeah,
flip?
honestly, yeah, oh wait, a flip is a jump. Is that what you're
You know how to do
saying?
like you know how to do like, you know how to go airborne yet?
What does that mean?
Like
Like
you know how to
jump?
go in the air, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It's so fun. I am practicing a lot of my spins. That's funny you say that. Like a lot of them because they're like it's so fun to do always. But thank you for asking for real.
Hell yeah. So go check out Electra's channel if you want to see any spins or if you posting them anytime soon.
I will
Let
definitely will.
everybody see. And yeah, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you. Always. Peace.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about the new I Know What You Did Last Summer movie. I've heard a lot about it, but what do I think about it? We'll find out in just a moment after these stories. So my eyeballs came across a very fascinating article the other day with the headline, Fetal Exposure to Vape Liquids Linked to Changes in Skull Shape. So basically what happens in this article is the scientists give the vape liquid the components to vape liquid without the nicotine. So whatever chemicals are in the vape juice, but minus the nicotine, they gave it to these pregnant mice. And when these mice gave birth to a baby, the dome on the baby was very narrow and shorter and irregular. And they did this because I'm sure a lot of people are out there sucking on their vape. Oh, yeah, man, don't worry about it. There's no nicotine in it, dude. There's no nicotine in it. Oh, really? Well, what about the glycosaminopatine and the misopropathine and whatever freaking chemicals are in there? Because you and I know damn well that people are stupid enough to still think that vapes are safer than cigarettes and that vapes are harmless and that they can even be indulged in while they are pregnant.
Now you know you're retarded.
And if this is true, we are going to start to see just an absolute epidemic of vape head babies. Remember when the Zika was going around and they would talk about Zika babies with the cone heads? We're going to start seeing vape head babies. There's going to be classes of children all with irregular dome pieces, and then their parents are going to come pick them up, puffing clouds puffing out of the vehicles, puffing all over the damn place, because that's how the world is now. People are absolutely addicted to the vapes. So if you are out there sucking on a vape while pregnant and you think we're not going to find out, when that baby's dome piece comes out, we're going to know. And we're going to look at you crazy, bitch, because you wild for that. You wild for that. Speaking of smoking, the next person I'm going to speak about was an avid smoker, but he smoked cigarettes, not vapes, and he probably wouldn't have smoked vapes because he's a very cool guy, and that is Walt Disney. There was a lot of talk about this new Walt Disney Animatronic that Disney was going to release in the park. And then there was a whole controversy because the great niece of Walt Disney was opposing them building this animatronic. She was writing letters, and there was all these articles about how she was saying that she does not want Disney to build an animatronic of Uncle Walt. Well, that did not stop them because the animatronic dropped. So let's take a look at what it looks like.
You know, I was stumped one day when the little boy asked, "Do you draw Mickey Mouse?" And I had to admit I do not draw anymore. Well, then you think up all the jokes and ideas. No, I said, I don't do that. Finally, he looked at me and said, "Mr. Disney, just what do you do?" Well, I said, sometimes I think of myself as a little bee. I go from one area of the studio to another and gather pollen and sort of stimulate everybody. I guess that's the job I do.
There's a lot of discourse. Some people are saying that it's horrific. Some people are saying that it's amazing. And me being an absolute Walt Disney glazer, obviously I'm going to throw my 2 cents in, and I'm going to say that number one, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen by far, okay? But what I will tell you is there's something off about the eyes. The eyes are creepy. The eyes are scary. It does give you the uncanny valley, weird, freaky vibe when you look at it. But other than that, it does look very good. If they were to tweak the eyes, probably, I wouldn't be so frightened. And it is a good looking animatronic, and it moves pretty well from what I can see. And we'll get back to that in just a second. But the one big gripe I have with this is the voice. That does not sound like Walt to me. That is giving very AI robotic. Hello, how are you doing? I'm Walt Disney. Thank you for coming to my park. It is not on par. Here's what Walt actually sounds like.
The sketches and plans you will see today are simply a starting point. Our first overall thinking about Disney World. Everything in this room may change time and time again as we move ahead. We know what our goals are. We know what we hope to accomplish. And believe me, It's the most exciting and challenging assignment we've ever tackled at Walt Disney Productions.
There are a good amount of clips and audio of Walt speaking. I would think that they would be able to nail this down, especially with the unlimited resources that they have in terms of people, voice actors, AI technology, money that they have. Okay, the voice is wacky. That needs work. And I guess the animatronic also needs work because I've seen at least 2 videos of it breaking down. He'd be in there, doing his thing. And when I was a child, I used to draw, and then, and the lights will go out, and everybody go, oh, no. And then people go, all right, sorry, everybody. There's technical difficulties at Walt Disney. You got to get the hell out of here. And everybody goes, oh, man, what the hell? I just feel like they're kind of doing them dirty a little bit. Is this a rush job? Why is it breaking down? Blah, blah, blah. But with all the controversy, right, with the great niece coming out and saying that this shouldn't have been made, I don't really know where she's coming from with that. Because listen, I get this, right? If my mom passed away or something, I wouldn't really want to see an animatronic of her. That'd be very odd. That'd be very weird. But if my mom was famous, and also if she was at the forefront of like this animatronic technology coming to life, and if she was a big, proponent in that and a big champion of animatronics, then yeah, it would make sense. And that's what this situation is. Walt was a famous guy, did a lot of great things, and also he's the guy that put together the Hall of freaking Presidents and all these other animatronics. So why not? Why would they not make one of him? It just makes sense. I don't really know where the great niece is coming from. She probably never even met him. She might have. I don't know. But it just seems silly to be so opposed to something that I feel like Walt Disney definitely would have loved and something he was a big champion of. So they need a little tweaking. It needs a little work, but I think this has potential, and I think it's very cool to honor him in this way. I know what you did last summer. I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025 is officially out. And there has been a litany of these movies over the years. There's I Know What You Did Last Summer. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. I'll Never Forget What You Did Last Summer. What You Did Last Summer will echo through the halls of time forever and ever. There's a TV show about it. It went on, and now we are at the point where there is one of those reboot movies that also integrates the original movie with the same name. And right off the bat, when I was seeing some reviews about it, I saw a couple short reviews, and people were saying it is an awful movie. But did I think that? No, I'm going to say that right off the bat. I did not think this was an awful movie. I enjoyed the first kill. I thought the first kill was good with the harpoon gun for poom. And I was wondering, like, how violent are we going to get here? And it didn't they didn't get too crazy where it was like super gory or super bloody, but it didn't feel like a Lifetime original also, or like, one of those movies where they just kind of cut away from the death scene every time. And they just give you a little bit. For the most part, the kills were good and the kills were on point. And I really enjoyed the last, I would say, 15 to 20 minutes of the movie. I thought that's when the movie really picked up, and that's when it was entertaining. But before that, the movie was boring. The movie was meh, other than it had its moments, it had its highlights. As I said, every kill scene, to me, I enjoyed. But everything in between, to me, was meh. And I think that really was due to the cast. I thought the cast was boring. I'm sorry to say, they just weren't interesting. I did not care about them. I did not care about their issues. Every time I would see one of them, I would just be like, wait, who's that one? Is that this guy or is that guy? Like, I would see one of their dead bodies and I'd be like, wait, isn't that guy alive? Or like, who is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just thought the cast was weak, pretty boring when they weren't getting killed, and other than the last 15 minutes, because the last 15 minutes, the last 20 minutes, it went down. Bodies were dropping. You find out who the killer and or killers are, and I thought that was a great part of the movie. When you find out who's doing what, when you find out who the killer or killers are and why they're doing what they're doing, I like that. And I enjoyed the acting of the killer, especially when they were finally able to unmask and, say why they're doing what they're doing and they're giving their explanation. I thought they did good. But everything before that, I was just like, whatever. It was just kind of whatever. I would not go to the theater to see this for sure. I would not go out of my way to see this. If you have an afternoon that you want to, throw something on and kill some time, yes. And if you are a diehard I Know What You Did Last Summer fan, then I would say definitely watch this. But if you're not really, if you're looking for something exceptional, if you're looking for a great slasher, this is not it. It's definitely not awful though. And on another note, I was talking about the cast. There is only one good cast member here in terms of the younger people, because obviously you got Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. and they're good. But when it comes to the younger cast, the new gen, right? The only good cast member, in my opinion, was Tyler, the chick that did the podcasting. She was the only one that had any kind of life, that was entertaining. It's good if you're watching TV, you turn it on, it's on TV, you've never seen it, then watch it. But I would not go out of my way for this. I've never really seen a lot of the I Know What You Did Last Summers. I've seen the first one as a child, and I've seen a little bit of it as an adult. It's never been my favorite series. I do like the concept of it. I do like the idea that there's this manslaughter, that you accidentally kill somebody or you're responsible for somebody's death, and then it seems like they come back to life to kill you, or somebody they're related to comes back to life, comes and they're going to kill you and they're stalking you. I like that aspect, and I do want to sit down and watch more of these. This is not a good introduction to the series if you want to get into it. This is not it. So there you go. Let me know if you have seen I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025. And also, let me know if you're vaping while pregnant, because if you are, you're a bitch. Okay? And you should stop doing that right now. Peace and love. See you next time.